So basically, your calculation, along with those of your colleagues, is that it is not in the interest of the Southeast or the Nigerian people or the security forces or the Tinubu administration itself to keep Nnamdi Kanu locked up. Tell us why.
Well, first of all, thank you again for inviting me. On Friday, many lawmakers in the House of Representatives, we met and agreed that the best solution is to appeal to the government of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who incidentally is my constituent. I represent him at the House of Representatives. He's from Umuahia North. I'm from Umuahia North. So it is my responsibility, as I've always done since I came to the House of Representatives, to speak for him. Where nobody else would, I would speak for him. And many others in that gap where there exists any perception of injustice or tribal discrimination in the administration of justice. Nnamdi Kanu has remained locked up despite so many court judgments in his favor. The Supreme Court held that everything should go back to the lower trial court. Now, we've been shouting to say there ought to be a political solution to this issue. And the last appearance in court, Justice Binta and Yako actually came up with a solution and said all parties should at least submit themselves to a political solution.
Right, so you're encouraged by that.
I am more than encouraged
statement by the Federal High Court,
of course,
urging both parties to explore
negotiation
and the possibility of a settlement.
And I'm also more encouraged simply because the prosecutor in this wise, the Attorney General of the Federation, being represented by a prosecutor there, accepted to such settlement. The council
they accepted to discuss.
Right. The council to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu also accepted. So both parties have accepted. It is only now within the time allowable to the time Justice Nyako gave for the resumption of trial, which is September 24th. So we are moving the political consideration to move it forward so that that could be some negotiations worthy enough for the consideration of the trial judge.
Although to be fair, the lawyer representing the government made it clear that it wasn't within his remit and that they would have to go directly to the Attorney General.
Of course.
Obviously it will be up to but the Attorney General hasn't responded yet.
The Attorney General has not responded yet.
Yeah.
But the Attorney General also takes instruction from the Commander-in-Chief, President and Commander-in-Chief. So that was why we were appealing to the Commander-in-Chief to direct the Attorney General to invoke Section 174 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic as amended, Section 174 1C, Section 174 subsection 1C, and subsection 3 basically talks about the powers of the Attorney General, that an Attorney General at any time before a judgment is rendered has the authority or the power to be able to withdraw his suit. So we want him to take care of that, and also to invoke Section 107 and Section 108 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, which basically talks about discontinuance of a criminal case and the withdrawal from prosecution. So we believe there has been a precedent set in other cases whereby recently the chairman of Metiala was at the determination of the court, his matter was settled. Sunday Igboho, at the determination of the court, his matter was gone. Sowore, at the determination of the court, and rightfully so, his matter were gone. Emefiele, I keep pronouncing his name wrong, the former CBN governor, was granted bail. Emefiele was granted bail. It now appears that as if Nnamdi Kanu, who was also charged alongside these other people for the same treason, appears that there is one set of rules for the rest of Nigeria and one set of rules for an Igbo man. And there is also one set of rules where a Northerner is freed, a Yoruba man is freed, a Middle Belt, South man is freed, and then when it comes to the Igbo man, he will continue to languish in prison. So there's an issue of injustice, regardless of the expectational bias that people may have regarding Nnamdi Kanu or not. Is immaterial, is inconsequential. But in this country, everyone is subject to the rule of law. And I'm so happy that Justice Nyako recognizes that and has given an opportunity for all the parties to come together. And we're appealing to the president. I have known the president to be a listening and attentive president, and that I would not wish to see the president to do otherwise. Doing otherwise will render the Southeast to continue to be savaged by bloodshed. Every single day, many people, scores of people are being killed mercilessly in the Southeast, including military officers. The high level of crime and criminality, banditry, assassination, and kidnapping continues to be the order of the day.
And these people are all taking advantage.
These are all taking advantage of the incarceration of Mr. Kanu.
Right.
Because all these people are agitating that he's still there. But once we remove Mazi Kanu from de facto, then it's a lot easier to know those who are benefiting economically from crime in the Southeast and making Southeast ungovernable. And a lot of people are not going home now.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that nettlesome question in a moment. But let's just go through what the action that you have taken, and you're one of those who spearheaded that action in the National Assembly. This letter calling for Nnamdi Kanu's release has considerable multi-party support, doesn't it? With lawmakers from the APC,
PDP, Labour,
APGA,
everybody.
Yeah, and even NNPP. Right. And there seems to be an urgency to your call for Kanu's release. I think you mentioned some of that. But just tell us a bit more about what spurred you and your colleagues into action at this time.
Well, what spurred me, like I said somewhere, was that I was elected a member of the Federal House of Representatives. And through my campaign, I ran on one single issue, that I would not be shut up in seeking the fundamental right of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and others in that gap. And I've demonstrated that from day one. I've questioned everybody that needs to be questioned. I've lobbied everybody that needs to be lobbied. I've consistently made my case for it.
Well, would you lobby in the same way for someone who is not from your constituency,
yes,
or who is not from the Southeast?
I'm a member of the National Assembly, and that's what it means. That I'm not just there.
So you're there to stand for
justice.
Right.
I want to stand for justice. So, but in this wise is Nnamdi Kanu, and the sensitivity of it. Now, my colleagues honored me by accepting to be a part of this. I could have easily done it alone, which would not be successful. I could have also done it through other caucuses, which would not be successful. But this is for the first time that Nigeria is asking for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, as been demonstrated by the members of the Federal House of Representatives representing various constituencies across Nigeria, coming together on this sensitive issue.
And how many are they? I mean, because initially, I think the newspapers some said 43, others said 50 lawmakers coming together.
Honestly, it must have been typographical error. The number is actually 50 that have signed, ready to go.
Right.
But because that we are on recess, we believe we will resume back plenary on or about July 2nd. And today we have commitment that would actually put that number over 150 honorable members all across political divides, all across the nation.
Well, that's a sizable number.
Of course, to demand for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
And
I'm highly honored by that.
Yeah, and you called, I mean, you mentioned this earlier, for the Attorney General to discontinue the case based on sections of the Nigerian Constitution,
not just, but for public interest.
Right.
For
but I need to get to a point here, because you're saying that I think it's section 174,
Section 174
gives him the power to end the trial in the public interest, in the interest of justice, and the need to prevent abuse of legal process. And you believe that Nnamdi Kanu's case meets those criteria?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we expect that the Attorney General, in consideration of this plea, having set precedents as well, in many other cases that I've just mentioned,
right,
cannot come to Nnamdi Kanu's case and do otherwise. Nnamdi Kanu deserves the protection of the laws of the Federation, and like I said, every subject of Nigeria, has a constitutional right and due process.
And just to reiterate that you believe that Mr. Kanu's release will help to restore peace in the South.
Absolutely, without any gainsaying.
Right.
Without any gainsaying. If you look at what is happening in the Southeast, like I said, what is the basis of the agitations that are currently going on? First thing they will point is the detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That's the first thing they will point. Now, if we remove Nnamdi Kanu from consideration, then it will make bare those who are enjoying the economic benefits of crime, high level of criminality, banditry and assassination and kidnapping in the Southeast. Like I said to you, the Southeast today, just like every other part of the country, I'm not just isolating the Southeast, but the Southeast today is ravaged by bloodshed. And the president cannot himself say that he's satisfied with an insecure Southeast. Neither the Southeasterners also satisfied with this level of condition going on in the Southeast.
And have you been able to extract a commitment from Mr. Kanu himself about what he'll do that we've managed to get him to agree not to do
even without me saying that.
Right.
Look at the recent utterances of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has come out and opposed Monday sit-at-homes which have ravaged the economy of the Southeast. He has also opposed all the senseless killings, and I've said the Igbos cannot continue to kill themselves and expect a change. He has also opposed the high level of crime and criminality that is happening in the Southeast. He's also supported peace in the Southeast. He's also supported economic development in the Southeast, which he put all these things together. On the face value of it, it gives a more value added to this negotiation and to any government to accept. But like I said, I am not unmindful, that everybody will come to the table, but let's adhere to the instructions of the judge and come to the table. And then I'm sure the federal government will have its own conditions. Nnamdi Kanu will have his own conditions. As for me, I'm available as his representatives to be there to advance and facilitate the dialogue at any level that is required to reach about a settlement on this matter so that there will be peace in the Southeast and the unconditional discharge of my constituent, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to go home.
So how do you think President Tinubu will respond to your appeal?
Why wouldn't he respond to that? Does he want to put himself in a situation where one part of the country continues to boil and is unmanageable? Or does he want to put himself in a situation where, as the President and Commander-in-Chief, that the protection of lives and properties, which ought to be his #1 fundamental responsibility, is keeping faith in the Southeast? We cannot continue in the way we are going. Charles, many Southerners cannot go, Southeasterners cannot go home as we speak for fear of being kidnapped, for fear of being assassinated. So the governors are themselves stepping out to maintain the peace, but we need the federal government to come and do the right thing. And the right thing to do, outside of saying that it is intentional to have an Igbo man continue to lavish in prison, while the same people who have been charged in the same offenses with him, but that are not Igbos, have been given getaway, I don't know how to say it, monopoly.
Get out cards.
Cards.
Right.
And then because he is an Igbo man, then he continues to languish in jail. So at a point, this issue must have to be brought to a closure, and the judge has done all of us a favor to ensure that we seek a political solution and that we work towards it.